Hello, my name is Mike. I choose to use anonymous name. I am one of Alberta's resident in the north part of the province. Um, I heard on radio there is a discussion going on with uh, governing body that is concerned with police issue because of the things that happened recently in our neighbor country, the US, and the attention it got worldwide. Um, so, just first, before I jump into the issue I wanted to address, is an opinion. This kind of conversation, we heard some people were registered to share their experiences in at Edmonton. Uh, it is a good start. It's a good start because just a few days ago, the deputy commissioner of RCMP actually denied there is no systemic racism in Canada in policing, especially as he says. Well, you know, of course, the world is different. The world he live in is different from the world other people are living in. So the officer may not know for denying that he shouldn't be condemned or of course if the world you live in is different from the world other people who are saying who encounter the problem or who experience it um, says something different, it is not a surprise to deny. Later, I think, perhaps he saw some videos, for example, the police brutality that happened to the native chief, and then, or maybe just advised because when the stars are aligned, that is when politicians need to change, said the governor of New York, Mr. Cuomo. It is true. So now it is a worldwide issue, especially in Canada as well, in the US. So the officer has to agree with them. I don't know if his agreement later, accepting that there is a systematic racism in Canada in policing, is really meant from his understanding or just to make up of his denial previously. Whatever the case is, the conversation that the government started in Edmonton is encouraging and needed to be promoted. And if this kind of conversation takes place, also carried out province-wide at city level, at municipality levels, and the different communities are invited to share their experience, that would be more helpful. The reason is that it can provide larger data, bigger data that is relevant. Because when we collect information, we look at the data size. The bigger the size of the data, the more reliable it is. This is not something new. Um, so that is my opinion. If this kind of conversation is encouraged at city levels, province-wide, and then that data is collected and evaluated, it will help individuals, officials who are in a position to make a difference and make some decision and apply some adjustments. Ultimately, it is the individual self-examination that makes a real change in every society as well as in every individual. Forcing to do this and that is it has a lot of resistance, but at least we have to do something. I appreciate that start. Let it go on. It is good. The other thing actually I wanted to address is just to make or bring up to the attention of those who are interested in this matter is that when we talk the problem now, it's like it appears worldwide, got attention since the days of Mr. George Floyd. Uh, what we need to ask ourselves is that where were we before? Or the problem, a similar problem, even more disgusting problem, were not observed or witnessed among police actions. That is something we ask. Or we choose to remain silent, or what has been wrong? What was wrong? That is the thing. So now, the point I want to make here is actually we hear a lot about police brutality, this and that and here. What we don't seem to realize is that the policemen and women on the street serving people, most of them actually, are not from another planet. The way the society seems to condemn them in everywhere. These police people, individuals, are part of the society they live in. And what they do, their reaction, whether cruelty, racism, violence, it reflects what is going on in our society as well. I think one is the product of society, right? It has been said. So it has to be taken as our own problem and be examined from different angles, not just put on a police and wipe to a police and make the police a kind of warriors against the citizens, or practicing some conduct, brutality, and something we never seen. How these police, the poor guys on the street, if they were not part of a society, how did they work with with the jury, with the court, with government officers at different levels, and end up having so many prisoners? That shows a discrimination. When we heard on radio, when the native, the indigenous people represent only 5% of the general population, but in a prison, 30% of them. And the same is true for a black man as well, like myself. Are they more criminals, bad guys among the society, or something wrong? Is the police alone responsible for this? Or there are people in a court, in a jury area, in other sectors that deals with these people, along with the police, share also the blame. Obviously, it is not the police who wrote some tickets or some allegations against the arrested individual who makes a decision to lock down that individual in a prison or in the correction center. It is the court or the jury, the judge, or whoever. So the police are not actually, should not be blamed alone, separately. Like I said, at different levels, there are people working with them in a racist mindset and murdering justice, fact, and truth. Denying our constitution, that constitution, regulations, acts, rules of laws that has been enacted to serve all citizens equally. When they don't apply that as it is meant, Of course, we see a 5% population represents 30% in a prison. Same is true for our black people. So it is not about just policeman, policemen and women on the street actually encountering different kind of violence from bad citizens. The majority where the blame should go is the bigger portion of the blame should go to the court, should go to the juries who evaluated that police actions. It still approves. What we learn from the policeman who murdered Floyd, we see on media he had 18 complaints, only two disciplined, two times disciplined. And that involves three shootings, one fatal case. But the judge or the court or the jury that dealt with him kept him going. So we have many of like those people, those judges in the court here as well, who just accept what the police is doing and with silence improving, promoting the violence side by side. So that change also, that is the level we need to change. That is the thing we need to see alongside the police brutality we are talking about. The office people, the court at official levels, in the office, sitting there and murdering justice every day, locking down innocent citizens in a prison for life or sometimes 50, 40, 20 years. Those are real killers, not just the poor policemen on the street. Of course, sometimes they apply forces, unnecessary forces, maybe paranoid. In the past, they encountered some bad things, or maybe simply motivated by racism, by hatred. We exactly don't know what situation that officer is in. But when the society, those in a court, those in a government office, in a community, in organization, in agencies are similarly acting to their capacity in a partial way, of course, what the police has to do, they also reflect the same thing. We will end up having bad guys more as a police on the street. So my point is, let us not just wipe everything onto policemen and women and pretend as everything is okay. It is not okay. I can tell you, I never had any problem with the police. In fact, I had a great appreciation for one RCMP policeman who brought my lost wallet in the middle of night to my home and called me. That simple gesture of kindness brings a lot of positive views of the community towards the police in our city, in our areas. We also understand the difficulties they encounter. I remember when, in which province, four police, I don't recall, four policemen lost their life. Somebody called to their home, and when they arrived in, he challenged. So they don't know what will happen, what the person in a car speeding has with him. Yes, of course, there are some racist mindset, hatred driven, because there are also other people they work with in a higher office, in a well secured area where important decisions are made. Even though I did not encounter any issue with the police, I have witnessed the vivid, rash, racist driven murdering of justice, not only justice. For example, I have witnessed where an investigator appointed by OHS, Occupation Health and Safety Officer investigator, who deliberately lied and used that false as evidence just to get away with the complaint I filed. I also witnessed at the Alberta Labor Relations Board who denied justice because I didn't look like them, who abused their power. I also witnessed at Alberta, at the University of Alberta, where I was given a job, official job that has been posted on university's website. And when the human resource, within an hour, I spoke with the person employing, hiring, who hired me, who offered me, negotiated payment is everything. And he said, well, an hour, within an hour, an official letter will come from a human resource. And the human resource sent me a letter saying the position, the employment type as casual level 1. When I asked for explanation, never gave me explanation because the description of the job was a full-time job, Monday to Friday, 37.5 hours a week. But when the employment comes, it was the letter of a job offer comes, it was casual level 1, which was supposed to be uh, uh, patho, uh, pathohistology technologist position posted by the university. So we have this kind of individual at different level operating, murdering justice, fueling hatred and divisions. So let us not just emphasize the problem on police. The police action, the bottom line is the police men and the women are part of the society and they are the product of the society and their work, their action reflects what is going on in our society at a different level. So when we think of change, let us think in a policing department. Let us also think those officials who make decisions on those cases also some change, some proposal. For example, if the person who was arrested by a police and brought to the case, to the court, if he has a complaint how he was handled by a police, that judge or the court has to evaluate the policies with evidence without any compromise, charge if that police behaved inappropriately. Not just assuming that the police report is absolute, and because there is a feeling behind that the policemen are just vanguarding our interest. So if we really want to be a better individual with integrity, a better and produce from there a better society, and working from our heart, it is possible. Man has a great deal of capacity to change even the world, not leave alone his mind, his society. Let us work in that way to be a better man as an individual, a better person, with integrity, with honesty, with a goal to have a better society and celebrate diversity and enjoy the different strengths different people bring to the table. I think that is my message. I say again, if any change is desired in a policing system, there has to be some kind of um, change with the court, with the judge who deals with those cases when making a decision, when accepting a police report, when uh, when they drop the case. For example, Mr. Rukondo in Edmonton recently posted online, and he has been interviewed by CBC. I watched that one, and I also saw the video of that. We were told his wife involved in a car accident, and then the police wanted to talk to her. I believe that is what was said, and the wife, Mr. Rukondo, was there, and I think they asked him to move away, leave the scene, and he, I think, refused because he is the husband and the wife. I don't know exactly why the police wanted him to go away. Since they did, since they did, they should communicate with him that we need some information just from her independently. You know, they can talk with him, you know, on a human ground, not just pushing away and or trying to scare him, because already people who are in an accident, they are disturbed, they are kind of emotionally alerted. So the policeman would have communicated with him on a human ground. But they said the police allegation was that when one of the police trying to arrest him, he pushed him away. But the guy said he never did this. Unfortunately, that the video does not include from the beginning what happened, but then the video shows that the police, two policemen, they threw him on the ground, his face down, and the policeman was putting his the officer was putting his knee on his neck while handcuffing, and the guy was screaming. He is not fighting. He didn't want to fight. And then I think the case was brought to court, and the court dropped it off. So in that situation, it's not just the dropping of the case. You see, examining, especially when people who are prone to racism are arrested, the judge or the jury sitting there should look at the motive of the officers and how they handled. If they believed the case was really not significant, nothing wrong done, and they drop it off, then that individual shouldn't have been treated that way. What was the need to treat him like somebody who committed a crime? Not necessary. So in that situation, what is the court, that specific officer, did to the police? Did he examine, or the current legal system won't allow him to do that? If not, if it doesn't allow him to do that, the officer, then the change we are talking has to also bring some mandate to the judge or to the court system to evaluate how a particular police officer or officers arrested an individual, a citizen, and what was the issue, and does he deserve the way he was treated? Was without resisting? All this has to put in place, and the court should be able to charge the police. By doing so, they can deter uh, any other similar issue from arising by police. Thereby, it reduces their burden work on these kind of cases. So, if we work genuinely from our heart at all level, I believe the problem is racism. Racism exists, but one should not be denied basic constitution, rules of laws, regulations this country enacted and put in place so that all citizens will be served accordingly. When some portion of citizens are denied and some portion of are favored with those things, then our civilization is in question. Thank you.